Crypto, if you're not in, I'm telling you it's not too late, and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should consider getting in immediately. So I do mining in Helium. That's Helium Network, People's Network, a really cool project. Example, Solana. At the beginning of this year, if you knew about Solana, you had an opportunity to get in below $10. The other day it hit 187, it got up to like 200. So that means within 10 months, because it's now October at the time of this recording, you could have made 10x on your investment. So you're passion to show, like, if you really want an opportunity, look at crypto.
Welcome to Amigospc. If you were looking for a podcast with high standards and an appreciation for the finer things in life, like water polo, ballet, equestrian riding, cricket, and trips to the countryside, you're in the wrong place. If you're looking for a podcast that celebrates drinking, random thoughts, wacky conspiracies, memes, crypto, cinema, and a lot of other things that don't really make any sense, then you're in the right place. This is Amigospc, and here are your hosts, Scott and Mark.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! You're hearing this for a reason. You haven't subscribed to the Amigos membership on Super Cash yet. For as little as $5, you can get access to our feed with no ads and exclusive membership discounts and merch.
Jump up to our $30 tier and get everything plus direct access to us via our Discord channel, live Amigo AMAs, quarterly giveaways, and crypto merch. For $1 a day or less, you can support an Amigo out.
Amigos back at it again. Today we have Richard Carthon from Cryptocurrent Podcast, which is an amazing podcast. If you could just give us a little bit of insight of you, your background, and how you got in crypto.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you for having me. Hey, everyone. My name is Richard Carthon. I'm the host of the Cryptocurrent Podcast, where we bridge the gap between people who know nothing about cryptocurrency and blockchain and thought leaders in the space. Our goal is to give you all the access and all the information that you need so you can start acting on crypto today. So a little bit about me. I have been a serial entrepreneur basically my entire career. I have a little bit of background in wealth management. I worked at Merrill Lynch for a little while in the wealth management side. Ended up leaving that to do my own startup. I was able to raise some money, go through some accelerators, and have some initial success. Then we speed up to around 2018. I was in this crucial position where I decided to give my company a little bit more breathing room. I need to go ahead and get another 9-to-5 just so I could support it. And I was working at this artificial intelligence company. First day on the job, my boss says, "Hey, what do you know about cryptocurrency? What do you know about Bitcoin?" I was like, "What's that?" He said, "Trust me, look into it." So I did, and it absolutely put me down the rabbit hole, changed the whole scope of my life, and I have been in it ever since, and happy to dive into that a little bit more. But crypto, if you're not in, I'm telling you it's not too late, and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should consider getting in immediately.
Well, before you get way too into that, I should have said this before we really started. We are not financial advisors. Well, Richard might be, but I am not. So anything that we talk about is basically speculation. Do your own research and enjoy the episode also.
Absolutely.
You had stated that your boss told you about Bitcoin. You had no idea. And all of a sudden you started looking at these different blockchains that made sense. So what made sense about them that stuck out to you?
So what correlated for me is first Ethereum. I became really a big fan of Ethereum because what Ethereum is truly just a platform. So the way I would look at it is like in a Microsoft or like a Windows or an iOS, and all of these different other cryptocurrencies are built on top of the ERC20 tokens, etc. NFTs, if you've heard of those. So basically, I was like, okay, so a lot of these quote-unquote cryptocurrencies, which Bitcoin is meant to be currency. It's meant to be something that is a store of value and traded and given as a means of currency. However, most of these cryptocurrencies are under the umbrella of blockchain startup. Think of cryptocurrencies as blockchain startups. And if you know about any, like most startups, 90% of them fail. So they're not all going to make it. But it doesn't mean that the 10% that doesn't make it, they're going to be huge. They're going to be massive. The ones that I think a lot of people should be paying attention to, just initially off the bat, Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're around the longest. They have the most credibility to them. They're going to be here. But going back to what made sense to me when it clicked, I had a friend who was living overseas in the Philippines working for oil and gas. And every time he'd get his paycheck, he would send money back to his family back in the States. And when he would do that, it would take 7 to 10 business days. He would pay about 40% in conversion rates from going to Philippine dollars to US dollars and in transfer fees, etc. Whatever he would send, 40% gone. And again, 7 to 10 business days. He would then take all of his money, convert it into Bitcoin, and he would send it, and it would take a couple of minutes, and it would cost a couple of dollars. I said, game changer. I'm sold. Sold.
It's surprising that even back then, banks now have the ability to move funds, outside of a blockchain. They can move funds from X or, A to B, and they can do it in a matter of minutes. I don't understand how they haven't adapted this yet.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason that they don't go at this speed is just to ensure that they can cover their butts at every step of the way, right? So the challenge with this, though, what I don't see on the other side of this, and what is a lot of point of friction for a lot of people right now, is you essentially become the bank. So if you mess up, that's it. You just sent it either to the wrong place or you can't undo it. It's immutable. So once you send it one way, you better pray that you send it to the right place, because if you didn't, you can't really undo it.
Okay. So, to kind of backtrack a little bit, are you just investing in crypto, or are you doing mining, or just staking? Like, what is your... You don't have to go into too much detail, but like, what's your game plan as to tackling crypto?
No doubt, man. So I am doing all of the above. So I personally am doing some investing. I have some staking that I'm doing. So to break it all down for potentially all the newbies out there, and this is one of the things I really like to do. I like to be able to break things conceptually down very simply. And then even for the people that are OGs who've been in space for a while, to be able to speak to it. So just to give you a reminder of everything that's going on. So investing, that means I'm going on like a Coinbase or a Kraken, and I put in my USD and I convert it into one of the cryptocurrencies. So I put in $50 worth of Ethereum, I get back Ethereum, and now I can do whatever I want with it. So investing. And then for staking, there are things like, for example, Tezos. If you're on Coinbase and you buy some Tezos, you let it sit there. By letting it sit there, they're actually going to pay you back 4% APY, annual percentage yield, where they will give you Tezos back for proof of stake, which is proving the network through staking. So that's another way that you can make money, passive income. The fourth is through mining, which I believe Mark and Scott do a lot of as well, which is you're going and you have these machines doing these complex things, and for every time that they prove a block, they get rewarded in the currency that they're mining for. So I do mining in Helium. That's Helium Network, People's Network, a really cool project. And I have a couple of miners that are set up in, again, passive income. And there's that, and there's a lot of other things like NFTs. There's so much. There are so many ways to make money in crypto. It is unbelievable.
It is crazy. To jump back to your podcast, Crypto Current, one of the episodes that I listened to, you had recently I don't know if it was a CEO or someone higher up with Titan. And this is a new project. I want to call it a project, at least. That's just recently released, at least on the iOS store. And basically is a portfolio management company that is doing what you would normally do on the stock exchange, but through crypto. I feel like this is one of those adaptability game changers.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on it? Because I know the conversation on your podcast itself was engaging, But at the same time, it didn't seem like we got too much insight on your end. So I just wanted to get your thoughts about it. I've only had a chance to really play with it a little bit on the app and things like that.
Right. So really fun conversation. He was awesome. And what Titan's really doing is almost like what I was doing at Merrill Lynch. They're essentially saying, we're going to help manage your wealth for you, aka we're going to put your money in different things like, and I'm talking in the traditional standpoint of like what I would do at Merrill Lynch. I'll put you in mutual funds or help you set up in these Roth IRAs and do all this different stuff to help your money make money. So what they're saying is, you give us a certain amount of money and we're going to put your money into crypto in a diversified portfolio so that you're maximizing your returns and you're getting exposure to a bunch of different cryptocurrencies without you having to really do anything. They're basically saying, give us USD. So whether it's $100, $1,000, whatever it is, you give it to us. We'll take care of the rest, give you diversification. And then after a certain amount of time, we'll give you percent back. So typically in the regular market, if you're getting 6 to 8%, that's awesome. If you get 10, you crushed it. In crypto, hopefully you're getting anywhere from 10% plus by the end of the year. Like it's very doable. And so that's the kind of the approach that they're taking, where they're saying, hey, we're gonna be your wealth managers of sorts, but instead of putting it into traditional assets, we're gonna put this in crypto.
Yeah. I know usually when I end up talking to some of our crew within like Discord or on social media, things like that, I always have to clarify with them or get clarification from them. Like, okay, well, what are you talking about? Like, are you just talking about the mainstream cryptos, or are we talking about DeFi when it comes to like trying to make those gains, right? Because 10% in crypto, to be realistic, is not a lot. It is good for the main exchanges, Coinbase, Crypto.com, things like that. But when you get into DeFi, we're talking hundreds of thousands of percent depending on your risk tolerance. So do you dabble into any of the DeFi stuff? And do you have anything that's favorable DeFi-wise?
So
and it's decentralized finance. Sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. So for decentralized finance, it depends on how you want to set up, or first, anything in crypto is risk tolerance. So I will tell anyone who's exploring and getting into this space, this is in your traditional aspect standpoint, you're doing usually 5 to, on the aggressive side, 20% of your overall portfolio, your money that you're doing for investments, into high risk, high reward types of investment. So of that, think about this in crypto. So whatever you're putting into this, understand you are willing to lose this. Not to say that you will, not to say that you're going in with the aspect of I'm going to lose this, but you have to be okay with, I can put this in and I can lose this. But on the other side of it, because of that high risk, high reward, because you potentially could lose it, you also have the opportunity to make 25% up to 100x. And that's not like crazy. Prime example, Solana. At the beginning of this year, if you knew about Solana, you had an opportunity to get in below $10. The other day it hit 187, it got up to like 200. So that means within 10 months, because it's now October at the time of this recording, you could have made 10x on your investment. So if you put in $1,000, it's now worth 10,000, et cetera, et cetera. That's just one example of multiple cryptos that have done that this year. I mean, there's a ton of examples. Another one, Bitcoin. If you had bought a Bitcoin, or if you even just put in $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at the beginning of the year at $30,000, today at $60,000, you doubled your money in 10 months. That doesn't happen in traditional. It doesn't happen. So, and then when you go to decentralized finance, what's even wilder is that you can get loans against your crypto without you ever having to take it out. So, prime example, one of the tools in the DeFi space is called Celsius. So there's a Celsius wallet. So you can go in there and you can get some of the different cryptos that they pay you back in APY. But instead of paying you at the end of the year or monthly or quarterly, whatever, they pay you weekly. So they have one that's called Polygon-Matic. At the beginning of this year, you could have got Polygon-Matic for under 10 cents. It got all the way up to $2. Insane, right? So I had a friend who put in $10,000 back when it was worth 3 cents. So when it got to $2, he basically made over $1 million. Now that same Polygon he put into Celsius, who pays at 1.12% APY, but now it's 10%. So basically that money, that initial 10 grand that he put in, is giving him weekly anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 just printing money for him. APY using Decentralized Finance. And if he wanted to keep that there and get a loan against his crypto, let's say that he wanted to get a $10,000 loan against some of the money that he has in his Polygon. Now, instead of taking out his Polygon, he can literally go get that $10,000 loan, pay off something or whatever, and then before it's due or whatever it is or whatever percent he has to give back, let's say it's $100 every week, he just keeps paying that, gets all that back, and then whenever he wants to pay it back, he gets it. Now he's liquid again. He can do whatever he wants. Or because it's already making an X amount, if it's making $2 to $3 grand a week or whatever it is, he just waits about a month, pays it off, and then keeps pushing. There's so many ways in crypto for your money to make money if you know how to use the different systems. It's literally insane.
You are extremely passionate about this. This is crazy. Just like it's beaming through the call. If anybody's actually watching this, they can see it. But it is crazy.
Because it matters, man. Like it just there has never been in our lifetime in humanity for the wealth creation that is being created right now for anyone. And this is in the US. This is internationally. If you have internet, you have a fair chance to make your money make money. Another just quick example, Shiba Inu, who's now on Coinbase and made it. I was in a group that first introduced like, hey, everyone check out this, Dogecoin puppy. Now it's Shiba Inu, right? There was a kid that was like 20 or 21 years old. And back when it was like first came out, put in, I think, $130 or something. And then it took off. His $130 became worth like $200,000 or $300,000 within like a week.
Wow. Yeah.
Again, this 20-some years old who identified this opportunity, threw money at it, and a week later, it's worth X whatever. And it's like, you think it's a joke. You think it's like, oh my gosh, like how does this happen? It happens all the time if you are looking for it and if you take advantage of this opportunity. So like, I really try to have the passion to show like, if you really want an opportunity, look at crypto.
Yeah.
What would be your one argument to someone who doesn't know it at all? Like, the brand new to the game, is anti-crypto. What would be your one message to get them on board to join? Except for obviously the lucrative money you can make from it.
Right.
But, there's all those people out there that are scared of it, which I think that's why a lot of it's not moving as greatly as we like it to. And not to mention the news doesn't help. Government's trying to scare everybody. What would you say to someone like that who's on the fence?
Yeah, so the first thing I would tell the person that's on the fence is they used to make jokes about the internet that it would never make it. It would never survive. Like there's literally news articles you can go back and be like, oh, this whole internet thing, right? And it literally changed the world. And it took years to build and get to that point. So, even for your first supercomputer that took up an entire room to now our phones that are smarter than supercomputers, right? These technologies, they take time. When Facebook first came out, no one thought it was going to take over the world. And now here we are. And that was literally 11 years ago, 2009. It took 11 years. So technology is evolving so quickly that there's no excuse to find out how the next technological piece is evolving for you not to try to at least learn about it and become involved. I'm sure everyone has their .com bubble story of like, oh man, I could have got into whatever and my buddy told me about it, I didn't do it, and I'd be filthy rich if I had done it. Or the people who like learned about telecom is like, oh my gosh, I could have put in 10 grand at the beginning of telecom, and if I had did it, I'd be worth like 10 million or whatever. Like there's always these stories like that. This is everyone in this moment's crypto moment. Like you're learning about it, we're telling you about it. Like this is that moment if you choose to get in right now.
Don't miss the train ride for sure.
So for someone that's new and trying to get into crypto, like Scott is trying to play off Scott's question here, where would you say would be a good avenue to start?
Yeah. The easiest way right now, especially if you are US based, Coinbase. So you get on, and if you don't have a dime to your name, You can go on right now. You can go to Coinbase/earn. You can learn about crypto, and they will pay you. They will give you free money to take lessons and learn about their cryptos. And then at the end of it, after you're done, and let's say you collected anywhere from $10 to $25 to $50, you can then keep all of those cryptos that you've gotten, or you can convert them all into the cryptos that, again, I think are going to survive the test of time for the next, let's call it at least 5 years. Bitcoin, Ethereum. You can take all of those, convert that into that, and then set and forget. And then, of course, that whenever you are ready to start potentially investing, I call it the crypto 401k. So for everyone in the US, if you're familiar with 401ks, it's your retirement. You put money aside, and then one day you hope when you're 60 or 65 or whenever you decide to retire, you have this nest egg of money. Now, the difference with the 401k is you can't touch that money until you retire. And if you do, there's gigantic penalties. You're going to get hit with all these taxes, all this stuff. There's true consequences. In crypto, you can get liquid whenever you want. So if you think of it as your crypto 401k, you're like, I'm just not going to touch this for 5 to 10 years. That money will destroy your regular 401k. It won't even be close. It won't even be close. But at the same time, too, if you need that money, you can go get it whenever you want. So it's dollar cost average. So if you had put in consistently any dollar amount, $10, $20, $100, whatever it is, from the top of 2018, when Bitcoin was worth $19,000, went all the way down to $3,000, went back up to 14, went all the way back down to 4,000, and then it's back up to, let's put it at 30, back in 2020 before Bitcoin went back to its all-time high around like 20 at the end of 2020. If you had dollar cost average over the last 2 years, you would have made money. So even if you bought at the very top, all the way to the bottom, whatever it is, if you're consistently buying, you always win over the course of 2.7 years. You will always come out positive. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but history rhymes. And if you are consistently getting into things that make sense, and if you play the long game in crypto, you almost win every single time. I've interviewed over 200 people at this point. You know what the number one thing they all tell me, especially the OGs? I wish I never sold. I wish I just would have been patient. I wish I just would have saw the long-term vision of crypto. And though, if you hear something enough times, you're just like, okay, this is probably a real thing. Like, how many times does somebody say, hey, that stove is hot, before you believe, yeah, that stove's hot, I shouldn't touch it. Like, if you play the long game in crypto, you win. You win. And so
I always like to compare. I always like to compare it to the stock market. I hate to do that, but at the same time, compare it, because if you continually invest, your likelihood of making 10% year over year it's very likely. Like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So it's the same thing with crypto. Now, the great thing about crypto, right, is that you can mine it also. Like, you can figure out a different way to invest into it and then continue making passive income on top of passive income with it. You had made mention of being a fan of Ethereum. We mine Ethereum. I would say about 90% of our force is towards Ethereum when it comes to our mining. But one thing that's looming right now, especially for miners like us, is Ethereum 2.0. And that seems like it's coming closer and closer and closer as time goes on. So I'd like to get your brief thought on, what is your thought of proof of work versus proof of stake? And it seems like you think Ethereum's going to stick around after this 2.0 merge. So I'd like to kind of get maybe a little speculation, not really on the price, but just the project as a whole, as just seeing if it's, what you think might happen.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And again, just like Mark said at the beginning of this, none of this is financial advice. This is my personal opinion, and I'm happy to tell you my personal opinion, and you do whatever you want with it, because this is what I personally am doing with what I'm about to tell you. So if you look at Bitcoin is digital gold. So digital gold is great. If you think about gold as a whole, gold is a $13 trillion market cap. So when I talk about market capitalization, that's how much money in the world exists around this particular thing. So if you look at gold, it's 13 trillion. Right now, Bitcoin just went over $1 trillion. So if Bitcoin is digital gold and eventually will take over gold, which I think there's absolutely a case for and could happen, because how much gold's in the world? Who really knows? How much Bitcoin's in the world? 22 million. And we can track it all and we know where it's at. So scarce, finite, we can track it. Again, one day people are going to wake up and realize how valuable Bitcoin is, and it's going to absolutely explode. Story for another day. Going back to the point, Ethereum. Ethereum is the internet. So if you had the choice to invest in gold or the internet, when it first came out, what makes more sense? The internet. The multiple on top of it is just so much greater. It's just insane. And will Ethereum ultimately make it be the ultimate platform out there? I don't know. It could be like an AOL. AOL did really well, crushed it for a long time, didn't make it, but for a long time it was the industry leader. Everyone followed it. It was great. But there's other things out there that's going to help make it. So again, another reason why I have to explain this. So you have layer one. Layer one is like its base layer blockchain protocol, and that's like how many transactions a second can it do. So Bitcoin is extremely slow. So proof of work, it's extremely secure. It is very heavy with machinery, takes a lot of energy, and it is not really scalable. But again, it's the most secure way to do it. But again, very slow. So Bitcoin can't do a lot of transactions at once. Neither can Ethereum. Ethereum is very slow. Ethereum only does a couple thousand transactions a second, which is not good. So Solana, who came in, they're like, F it, we're going to find a way to do, I think, 40 or 50,000 transactions a second. It's faster than PayPal. It's faster than Visa, American Express, all these different things. It is the fastest transactions like per second platform out there, which is why it exploded and has a lot of opportunity to keep going up in the right direction. At base layer protocol, Ethereum has these things layer 2 that help make it faster to scale up, but it's going to take a while to build all these different things. So why is Ethereum moving to proof of stake? Proof of stake is faster. It's going to help it scale. And I don't know if y'all have ever bought anything with Ethereum with gas. Gas is a major problem. The only reason that you're spending all this money to make a transaction is because it's so slow with transactions. Whoever's willing to pay more, they're going to go through first. So again, to just go back for 2 more seconds with Ethereum, because Ethereum is so slow with transactions, imagine if you went to the bank right now and you said, hey bank, I want to take out $100. And you said, okay, that's fine. It's going to cost you 130. Would you do it? Hell no. You laugh about it. You're like, you kidding me? Like, what? But people do that every day right now in crypto.
Yeah.
Because that's
day.
Every day. And
Every day.
There's like a good block of hours during the day where people are minting NFTs like on OpenSea or other projects that are out there where you can mint them. And they are literally spending, I would say 5 times sometimes the amount that it costs to mint one of the NFTs that they're trying to get. And they do it multiple times. It is completely insane. The amount. I love it because I'm mining and I get rewarded for that. But you got these massive blocks that are coming through on the chain, and it's like, wow, I can't believe that this is really a reality of Ethereum right now.
Right, and it goes against everything Ethereum was meant to be, which is for the people having access, all this stuff. It's becoming ultimately for the rich. How many people have the means to spend $100 for a transaction? They don't. And so that's what proof of work, because it's so slow, because it is so, it's very secure, it's all of these great things, but it's not scalable. And so if Ethereum doesn't solve this soon, it's going to be overtaken. Like, if ETH 2.0 doesn't happen, there's no way it survives. You heard it here first.
I mean,
we're gonna switch now, Mark. We're gonna switch.
I know, right? Well, we're mining different other coins too as well, but I have that same feeling. Like, Ethereum is great, and the idea and what's been built on it has been groundbreaking and everything like that. But there is going to come a point where their 2-year indefinite going proof of stake trend that they've had, it's gonna find its last days. Basically, it seems like now that might happen June 2022. What do you think? Your opinion, not, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point, but what do you think when June 22 comes around? If you're going to flip a coin, at least, does it happen or doesn't it happen?
I'm optimistic. I pray that it works. I don't think it happens. Here's the problem that Ethereum is facing right now. Because the volume is as great as it is, because there's so many people involved, and you now have forks and you have all these different things being built on top of it. Think of it as like, the universe. The universe is always expanding, right? So if you're trying to like change the universe into something else, you have to like keep fixing it as it expands. And so if you don't do it quick enough, it's just going to keep out expanding you. And so that's the main issue that Ethereum's facing. And they only have so much more time to get in front of this before it's just going to be too big for them to get in front of.
Yeah.
Do you have a Plan B coin that you might switch to?
Oh, Solana. So my number 3 is Solana is doing all of the right things. Solana basically figured out where are all the things that Ethereum did wrong and fix it on layer 1. So they're even trying to find a way through Solana layer 2 to go and be the solution for scalability problems for ETH. So if they even help solve Ethereum's problem of doing that successfully, you could see a ton of resources flow into Solana.
Yeah. Wow.
That is crazy. Now, one thing that we haven't mentioned this entire episode, and one coin that we are huge fans of, Dogecoin. And I noticed that you didn't mention that within your 1, 2, 3, your gold, silver, and bronze. So, I'd like to get your opinion on Doge, right? We are huge fans of it just because of the community.
And we
have learned so much just being a part of what you would consider the Dogecoin experience. And really, it launched us into crypto in its entirety and where we're at today. So, what's your thoughts of it? And is Billy Marcus going to take over again? You don't have to answer that piece of it. But
So I will give you my honest opinion of Doge, and I will tell you my evolved opinion of Doge.
There you go.
So my opinion of Doge is that it's an absolute joke, and it is absolutely amazing how it has become valuable. My evolved answer right now is that what gives anything value? If the community and people behind rally to make something valuable, it is therefore valuable. And the people alone have made Doge valuable. That you can't ignore it. And that it is an actual force, and that it is actually valuable, and you have to deal with it. It's when you have something that initially was made as a literal joke, and the original owner sold all their shares because they said, this is a joke, and has not seen any of the money that truly came from Dogecoin, and then the community behind it basically said, nah, we're going to make this a thing, and now it is. It has to be taken seriously. So now I take it seriously. That's nice. My opinion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Billy Marcus actually just made a comment the other day on Twitter about how his poor decisions have costed him $35 million. So take his advice as to what to do, right? He's essentially the pizza guy now at this point.
Yep.
Right.
The big pizzas.
I know you got to go in a few minutes. Typically, we like to ask our guests a few questions before we get off. Scott, do you want to go into the questions, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, let me go. No, I'll go ahead and jump into those. Let's see. Sorry, I was not prepared. I'm just looking through these to find a good one. What is a guilty pleasure that you have as far as music? Maybe you like Sound of Music's your favorite movie, or something like that. What is your guilty pleasure that you do that most people don't know that you have?
Man, guilty pleasure. So I really like rock and roll and metal music. And nice. Whenever I really need a focus, I'll just put on some metal. And I'm going to go see Metallica in Atlanta in a couple weeks. Super pumped about it.
That's cool. That's gonna be awesome.
Have you been into Metallica for ever, or is
Just
it
recently.
So interesting enough, I didn't even really get into like rock music until I was literally a kid, and Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all that came out. And the first ones that I really got into was Rage Against the Machine, my favorite all-time band. And I also have tickets to those until COVID happened last year, but they're coming back in 2022. 100% going out there in Arizona. Can't wait.
Oh, hey, come say hi.
Yeah, man. Gonna have to come say what's good, man. But yeah, that's how I even got into it in the first place.
Nice. Metallica, that's been staple for me at least since I was a teenager. It's just Black Album. I can't not. I know a lot of people hate on that album. They're like, that's when they sold out. But that's my favorite Metallica album. I can't not listen to it.
Yeah, man. Riding the Lightning is probably one of mine.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What is one piece of information that you know that it seems to be legal to know? Like, you know, one way to get out of parking tickets. I don't know, something crazy. Your own handicap signs.
So if you're gonna sue someone in small claims court,
Nice.
It's just not worth it. So like if someone's really trying to sue you for anything less than, I think it's $5,000 to go to small claims court, let them take you, because like even if they win, they then have to somehow bring it to court again to get summary judgment. And then even once they get summary judgment, they then have to wait another amount of time to collect. So I sued my landlord to get my rent money back, and it was a whole thing. And then I learned so much, and I just basically at the end of it that if you're going to small claims court, you better have time, money, and energy, because it's just so much.
Man, yeah,
you could have made
sucks.
more than what the rent you were trying to get back.
Oh, 100%. It wasn't worth, it was not worth my time ultimately, but like I got in too deep and I was just too stubborn. I'm like, I'm gonna win this.
All right, and our last question: if you could take a one round or one way trip to Mars tomorrow, Elon calls you, says, "Hey, you're going to Mars." Would you take it, or would you say, "Nah, I'm cool. I'll stay here"?
Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm not gonna be the first one.
Here?
I'm gonna let someone else go and develop it, make sure it's all good. I've seen way too many Mars movies. Like I'm not capable of like pooping to make soil and hoping I can harvest it, can survive. Nah, I'll wait.
No Matt Damon, he says.
No Matt Damon.
No poop potatoes.
Would you do the Total Recall thing if there were trips in between though?
Oh man!
So you can come back. That's a good one.
Possibly. The only one. So the Interstellar one, I thought that was cool. Like if I knew I could basically go in, like if this is gonna be it, I'm just gonna go into the end of time, if you will. Like that'd be a pretty cool way to go out. So.
Yeah. Well, he kind of came back though, if you think about it. How all it went full circle. No spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I know, right? Movie's 5 years old now at this point.
It's older than that. That movie's like 10 years old or something now.
Well, we greatly appreciate that you came on. Sorry we started a little late.
Sorry that I was late. I apologize.
Yeah. Way to go, Scott.
I know.
If you could just tell us, where we can find you. If you got anything coming up soon. This episode drops in about 3 weeks. So just, let us know.
Absolutely. So if you want to learn more about us, just go to crypto-currents.co or just search for cryptocurrent in Google, Spotify, Apple, anywhere. Just search for cryptocurrent. I promise you're going to find us. We have a lot of really great content. If you want to learn from the industry leaders, if you want to learn anything from basics, I have a Crypto for Beginners document I made at the beginning of this year that will literally step-by-step walk you through how you get involved in cryptocurrency. Ultimately, I want everybody to win. I want everybody to get in this. It's not really about the money for me. This money's for everybody. And I want everyone to get their own financial independence and to create some generational wealth for the new ages to come. And that moment is right now. Hope you listen to this, want to get involved in crypto. Please feel free to reach out to me as well. I'm happy to answer any questions. I want to be a resource for you. So again, Mark, Scott, thank you so much for having me on the show. And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. All right, Amigos out.
This has been the Amigos PC. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review us on all your podcasting platforms. And visit us at Amigospc.net. Get our entire library of content and Amigos merch. Till next time, adios.